Hi, my darlings. It's Miss Darling in the studio. Welcome back, and if you're here for the first time, welcome. Today we're going to be dealing with making a very unique journal using an Amazon envelope. You know, the kind that has the little bit of bubble wrap on the inside. It's nice and crinkly, and they come very large. And so if you don't have an Amazon one, anyone will do. But what you want to do is grab one and open it up, and then cut off half of it. You don't need to use it as it is because we're going to be folding it over, and that's going to be enough thickness with just half of it. So cut it in half, and then you want to fold over the edges and glue them down just like I have here. So fold all four edges, and then when you fold it in half, you have a nice size cover for a journal. Now folded in half, this one is about 6 1/4 inches by the height then would be 10 1/4 inches. Yours may be a little different, that's okay. We're just looking for an unusual, little bit oversized cover, and then we're going to do something unique in terms of the journal that we'll put inside. And to give you an idea of what we're going to be doing with that, we're going to be taking cardstock plus envelopes, you know, those return address envelopes that you get in the mail, that you have to make your payments on and or return something. And so hope you've been collecting some of those. If you haven't, it's a good idea to start collecting them, because you can, instead of just throwing them out, you can turn them into really nice art projects that we're going to be showing you here. And I've also got some bags that I get from my pharmacist that I've cut into, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, but we're going to be including something like that in the whole thing by the time we're done. So get your supplies and come along with me, and we'll craft together. This is probably going to take a few videos to cover it. There's a lot to be done, but it's going to be very rewarding and challenging and fun along the way. So let's get a little bit of housekeeping out of the way. If you're looking for resources, be sure and check my Etsy store. I've got a lot of digi products there you can download, and that will help you not only in this project but other projects that we've done. And check in the description box below the video. You'll find links to various tools and products that I also talk about. Oh my!
Hello!
Ah! You'll never guess who's here.
Wait, see if they can tell by the hand. Wait, my hand doesn't look as cute as yours, though.
You just don't have any nail polish on.
Wait, let me take one of these.
Okay.
I feel a little underdressed. There we go.
It's Swoop in the house, everybody, in case you hadn't figured that out.
Hi, everyone. So what are we doing today?
We are doing an Amazon envelope craft journal.
Good.
And we're going to be using a lot of throwaway envelopes plus an Amazon, and we're going to incorporate fabric and paper together, and it's going to be a fairly detailed project,
nice.
But going to be very rewarding and satisfying.
Wait, am I spilling all of your secrets ahead of time?
No, well, I'll eventually spill them anyway, so.
We're spilling the tea here. Oh, that's pretty. Nice.
So we're gonna be, for those that are adventuresome, what I'm going to be working on is a cover that I made the design, but then I printed it off on fabric.
You made all of this?
Well, I put it together.
Or you printed this on fabric?
I printed this on fabric.
You're so clever.
Yeah. The only drawback is it's quite muted from what you get if you print it on paper, but we'll work with that.
But like muted is good.
Yeah.
So it's a vibe.
Yeah.
Everyone, she's creating a vibe today.
I had to change all of my fabrics though, because I wound up with these really bold fabrics to go with the paper, and then it's much more subdued. So I'm going to having to take my fabrics down a notch.
Well, I think it'll be great. Thanks
But
everyone
it'd be a lot of fun.
for coming over to her channel. Hope you guys have been enjoying it. I stalk her and watch all of the videos.
Yes, she does. And she was instrumental, as I've already told you, in helping me set up my studio so I could even film this.
Well, you're a natural. Welcome. Here, let's handshake. Welcome.
Hey, thanks for stopping by, Swoop.
Yeah, have fun.
Yeah, we will.
And
I'll see you a little later then.
yeah, I'm just over here bugging you. Here, you can have your ring back.
Okay. Thank you very
There you
much.
go. All right.
I need my jewelry.
Enjoy. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Oh, that was fun. Always happy to have Swoop in the house. Although I think this is the first time she's made an appearance here in this particular house. Okay, back to where we were. Okay, as I just said, I'm going to be using what I've printed off on fabric. And I'd never printed on fabric before, so I really didn't know what to expect. And as I've already said, I do want to point out that on the fabric, the colors do come out quite subdued. And so don't let that shock you. We just had to make some adjustments in the fabrics that we're going to use with it so we don't overpower the printed portion by having other fabrics that are too bold for it. But to give you an idea of where we're going, for instance, if this is the envelope that I'm going to be using, and it's going to be folded like this. So obviously my fabric is much smaller than the envelope, which is fine. We have plans for that. But this is an 8.5 by 11, and this is the largest size that my printer will print. I suppose I could have gone to a professional duplication house and I could have gotten something larger, but I'm okay with this because I plan to use fabrics to put on the border in a collage kind of quilting fashion. I'm going to do some slow stitching on that and handle that way. On the inside, we'll be using paper, and of course the designs print a lot stronger on the paper. And just to give you an idea of the difference, this is that same design that I printed here on the fabric. This is what it looked like on paper, so you can see there's quite a difference in terms of brilliance. But hey, I love muted as well, so we just adjust our fabrics and what we're doing, and you'll have to do that as well. So we're going to be using all different kinds of fabrics plus lace, and I've even got a piece of screen here, you know, that came in the mail, and I thought, oh, how fun. You know, just start saving everything that you get, because you just never know what you're going to wind up using in a project somewhere down the road. So, okay. Oh, for those of you who are interested in printing on fabric, I purchased this fabric from Amazon. It comes by the yard. It's, I believe, 100% cotton, and it's the natural color. I did not want white, though white I'm sure is available. And all you do is you cut out your piece according to the size of a sheet of paper. If you're restricted to size, for instance, I took just a regular white sheet of cardstock and I cut the fabric a little bit bigger than that, and then I sprayed it with this repositionable adhesive. This is Krylon Easy Tack, and it worked great. I sprayed the paper nice and fully. I did that outside, and then I just laid my fabric down on top of it, or if it's easier, then you just put your fabric down on a table and turn your paper upside down and position it on the fabric. That might be easier. Anyway, give it a nice good pressing, and then you make sure that you trim off any excess fabric that extends out beyond the size of your paper, because you don't want to do anything that might make this get caught up inside your printer. I have an HP printer. I've heard other people say they have been able to print on fabric with an HP just fine as well. And I was able to do it with no problem at all. I cannot guarantee that everyone's printer will print on fabric. And you do take the risk of it getting caught up inside. And so you do have to be very careful. And that's why you want to adhere it temporarily on a sheet of cardstock to give it nice, good sturdiness so that it will pull through your printer fine. And that was all there was to it. And, you know, obviously, we already talked about it coming out more subdued, which it will do. But that's all you need to do. And then once you've printed it off, you just pull the fabric away from the cardstock and you're good to go. So that's what we're going to cover as far as the cover is today. We'll get back to actually creating the cover in a later segment. We're not going to have time to do everything today. But what I thought we would do with the time we have left is talk about how you put together the throwaway envelopes into what you're going to be making as far as the inside journal goes. This is just the, you know, the substrate, what you're going to be decorating and how I did mine. Obviously, you're free to come up with your own sequence of papers, envelopes. You don't even have to use envelopes if you don't want. You could just use papers that you print off, or, you know, that you fold up and put together. But this is a project in which we're trying to use up stuff that normally goes to the junk pile and give it a new life. So I'm going to pause a minute here and get out the other envelopes that I have so that we can physically put one of these together and you'll see exactly what I did. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Here's what you're going to need. You will need 2 sheets of cardstock. Doesn't have to be black, could be white, could be any color. You'll be winding up covering them over, so it really doesn't matter what the color is. So you'll want to have 2 of those. You'll want to have 4 of these large size return envelopes, with or without the window. Here's one with a window and no cellophane. Here's one with the cellophane. And then here are 2 without any windows at all. So it doesn't matter. Obviously, the more windows you have, the little more time it will take when you go to decorate them, but how many you have is strictly up to you. You'll need 2 smaller window envelopes, or they could be non-window. Mine happen to be window envelopes, so you'll need a couple of those. You'll need 1 of these medium size envelopes that often come, and preferably one with a flap still on it. Obviously, this is an outside envelope that I had opened, and most of mine have been ripped open because I haven't pre-planned wanting to save them to use for a craft. But you'll need 1 of those, and the reason I have that in there is to help get the width that I want that's going to look appropriate for a journal that is this size. You know, if you have something that's really skinny in there, it's not going to feel right, or you'll have to take other steps to account for that. So, but I wanted to use some of my artwork on standard cardstock size, but I also wanted to have that usable on the inside as well with an envelope. So you'll see here, that's where I've got that big sized envelope. It's right smack in the middle of what we're going to be doing. So it's good if you have 1 of those. If you don't, you'll have to work around it however best you feel you need to do. And then I've got 3 envelopes here that were from my pharmacy. I like them because they're very crinkly, and you'll maybe want at least 1, maybe 2. It just depends, up to you, and we'll be cutting those off and including them as ephemera later on. So, all right, let's get to putting them together. We already know from the outset that the cardstock is going to be folded in half. So let's go ahead and do that. And we'll see how good I am at figuring out what it was I did to put this all together. It can get a little confusing, I want to warn you up front. So bear with me if I struggle a little bit in showing you what to do. Okay, set those off to the side. We'll also put our pharmacy envelopes off to the side. We won't need them till much later. Okay, so we've got this envelope, 2 small ones and 2 regular size ones. And so I know that I started with 2 regular sized envelopes. Or did I? Yes, I did. They wind up at the back, but that's how I started. So we're going to take 1 of these and 1 of these with a window and without a window, and I'm going to glue them I'm going to stick one inside the other. I think that's what I did. Stick one inside the other and hang on. Yeah, I think it went like this. We leave the flap. Okay, yeah, we're going to glue. This one's going to face inside. I want to do it that way. Yeah, we want to have the pocket accessible at all times. So I believe we're gonna glue it this way. And I just use my regular, you can use a glue stick, or you can use the wet glue. I have a link in the description box to all the glues that I use. And we glue the flap of one to the envelope on the other. Then next we're going to take this and we're going to glue that flap I think we'll do it this way. We're going to glue that flap to the back of this one. This flap was ripped when I opened the envelope way back when, so I just taped it together. That will all be covered over with our decorative papers later, so it won't be seen. So then we're going to lay this in. Now you can lay it in where the bottoms are even, or you can divide it in two. And so now we wind up with this larger envelope glued to the two smaller ones. And I think that's what we have here. Yes. Okay, so far so good. Now we're going to glue another envelope onto here, because now if we open this up, before we do that, okay, that comes next. We're going to glue this we're going to glue this to one side of the cardstock. Let's see. Let's make sure. Yeah. Okay, we're going to glue this back side to this side of the cardstock. And like I say, you don't have to do yours exactly like I'm doing mine. If you want to play around with them and come up with your own configuration, feel completely free to do that. Okay, so this is going to be glued right in here. This envelope is a little taller than the cardstock, so I'm just splitting the difference. So now we know the full width of the journal inside is going to be the width of the large envelope, not half the size of the cardstock. Okay. Now, what did I do next? Okay. I took cardstock's gonna fold that way. And then I took this envelope and glued it to that side of the cardstock, and I took this envelope and glued to this side. So, and the reason I did that is so that now I could have two flaps that open up to a pretty large double spread. So we're going to do that, and then we'll come in with the smaller envelopes on top of that, and I believe we'll be mostly done at that. We'll be done gluing at that point. So we'll take one of these and put our glue on the flap. And that's going to go on the back side of the large envelope. Okay, so we have a flap. And then this one will be glued to the back side of the other side of the cardstock. I hope you're able to follow me okay on this. It's going to go like that. And since it's taller than the cardstock, I'm just splitting the difference. So I have a little bit above and a little below. Okay. So now we have two flaps that will open up, and each flap has a pocket to hold ephemera. And then onto that, let's see, what did we do? Okay, onto that we glued two smaller envelopes, positioning them right at the bottom. You could put them in the middle, wherever you like, doesn't matter, but I decided to go with positioning them on the bottom. Just to change it up. a bit. Okay, so now we'll have a flap and a pocket and a flap and a pocket. And then we'll do the same thing over here, just the opposite. And these can be decorated inside however you want to. You can use all paper if you want. You can use all fabric if you want, or you can use a combination. I don't know yet what I'll be doing, but more likely I'll do a combination of paper and fabric. So now we have two small flaps. They each have a pocket on each side. And then we have a larger flap, and there's a pocket on each side there. And then we'll have a nice wide double spread for something spectacular. Maybe you'll want to come in and put, you know, a pocket on one or both sides down here, or a corner tuck. You know, I mean, it's completely open to do whatever you want when it comes to decorating. All we're doing now is just getting the guts of it made so we know where we're going with that. Okay, so it opens. How does it open? Okay, I have it backwards. Okay, here's how it opens. Like this, and there'll be a tuck there, and a pocket there, and open it up, and there's a different kind of pocket here, and there's a pocket here, and then you open it. Oh dear. I do believe this wound up different from my first one. Slightly, so if yours winds up different, don't panic. It just means you start out opening it in a different way. For this one, okay, this was my original one where we open one and we open the next one, and then we have this. In this one, we're going to have to open it this way and open it this way to get to there. But then we'll have to come back and open it that way. Okay, so this one's going to wind up somewhat different from that one. I apologize for that if you're upset by that, but I don't exactly know what I did differently this time from the first time, but obviously I did something different, just slightly. So, but, okay, if we turn this around and you open it and open it, then you have to flip the whole thing over and then open it that way. And then the small pockets are lined up at the top instead of the bottom. So you could do it that way, and then that way you're opening it like a standard book with right to left, and then you flip the whole thing over and flip it again, and then you pull it out this way. So that's nice too, and works. It's just a little different from what I did with my first one. I think I'm going to be decorating both of these. I'll do one on camera and one off camera so you can follow along and then see what you come up with. That'd probably be even better yet. So now all I did with these pharmacy envelopes was I decided, rather than gluing one side down, which you could do that and then have a pocket from the top, or I thought it would be kind of fun to use them as a tuck-in and just make them shorter than the width of that the journal's going to be, and rip off what I don't need. So now I've got a short pocket that can be stuck in here. Yeah, I guess that would be the best, maybe about the only place. So that would be tucked in here. And then if you want a second one, you know, just cut off a second one, which could be the same size or wider, whatever you happen to have. If you don't get pharmacy envelopes, I don't see any reason why you can't pop by your local pharmacy and ask them for a couple. They'll probably be happy to give in to you. So there we go. Now when we're finished up, we'll be attached. This one last cardstock is going to be loose at the moment, and then it's all going to get attached to the cover as we go down the road. But that's as far as we're going to go with dealing with this at this time. And I'm almost out of time, so we're going to call this a wrap at this point for this video. And please check my channel or your notifications for when I post part 2, and we'll go forward with decorating the cover and the internal journal. And so I'll see you then. Remember to be sure and check my Etsy store for resources, and also the description box at the bottom of this video. Thanks for sticking with me. So for now, this is Miss Darling calling this a wrap. Bye-bye.